Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soulprint. Thank you very, very much for being here. I am going to hopefully zip through a bunch of countries, kind of a quick around the world tour, if you will. So let's start with Carney, who is now the new, Mark Carney, who is now the new um, Prime Minister of Canada. He is in France and England. His first sort of, Trudeau just resigned on Friday, I think. So it's his first trip out. Um, England makes perfect sense. He's going to be seeing King Charles III. It seems like it's a fairly common thing for the new prime ministers to have an attendance with, um, the head of England's family. Um, that makes sense, okay, and that's smart because it is reinforcing the idea, even though the people who should be receiving the message are kind of dumb, but it is reinforcing the idea that Canada, like other places in the world, are sovereign states. And so, um, our money has Queen Elizabeth and King Charles on it, right? All right. He's also picked up in France. Um, they're saying that Macron is sort of stepping in to the void that is being left by Trump and all the crazy that's going on. So I want to take just a quick look at Carney because I want to see how those what the response is and how well he's doing and how well he's being received in both France and England. He was in France before England, I believe. So, Spirit, what can you tell me about Carney's journey into France? Any conversations that were had with Macron? Any decisions that were made, please? The meeting was successful. There were some strategies that were sort of hashed out, if you will, in terms of how to deal with the US slash Trump slash Elon. Um, but there was also two things. One was sort of like a sense of commonality because they very much, both areas, both very much feel kind of that threat that's coming out of the White House. So they figured out some strategy. They also spoke about, I don't know that I would go so far as to say trade agreement, but there's definitely a conversation about goods that can go, back and forth across the ocean between Canada and France. Um, so those are all really, really positive steps. Apparently, Denmark, um, just throwing this in, Denmark apparently has really got on board with the whole, not buying U.S. product. Um, and they're angry. And you know what? We're angry here in Canada. This insulting rhetoric that's going on, it needs to stop. As of right now, it's not. Okay, can you please tell me about Carney and King Charles? Okay, that meeting was also very productive. It's more like an introduction, so these people, meet each other. But w- apparently, told that there was a reassurance given to the Canadian Prime Minister from King Charles. Um, I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. No, that's not true. I think I do know. I also believe that Carney had a meeting with the Prime Minister of of England, Britain. So Carney's hitting the right spots and connecting with the right people in both England and France. And as I say, Denmark's just angry, and I don't blame them. So why are they angry? Okay, well, it ain't hard to figure out that 45 is unhinged. I mean, he's just doing and saying things that are so out of line, are so irresponsible that it is mind numbing, frankly, how the Republicans continues to stand by his side. But where I'm going with that is Schumer, Chuck Schumer, who voted to, he put the votes in that passed the bill on the, I think it was a continuing resolution budget. Now, Democrats, and so did Betterman, apparently, people, Democrats out there, independents out there, even Republicans out there are not impressed, okay? He is under a tremendous amount of blowback pressure right now. Apparently he was on a book tour, was going to be, and that got canceled for quote unquote security reasons. I think he was just smart to, you know, not yet travel around the United States and find out how angry people were because he has enough on his plate in Washington. He is he looking at retiring? Is he thinking about it? Like, what's the deal there? Okay, so he acknowledges that he's under a lot of pressure. There is conversations. I don't know if they're actual loud conversation or they're conversations like he's having with himself about should he step down? Should he retire? Should he take the Pelosi route where you step down from the position, but you remain he would be remaining part of the Senate. He, in his head, believes that almost like antagonizing the situation is a misstep. And that right there is going to be something he's going to have to deal with because people are angry that enough Democrats voted with the Republicans on that bill. And so you can anticipate that those Republicans, and I don't have the list of who they are, they're going to be getting blowback from their own constituents. And certainly Schumer is not having a very nice time of it. And what he's done is he's in that kind of breaking the Democratic Party apart. And I don't believe, based on his energy, that it's intentional, but it's a matter of he is not ready to let go. He feels that he's done so much work. He's dealt with Trump. He just feels like it's like he's not ready to give up the baby with the bathwater kind of thing, right? He wants to hold on and hang on to that position because he feels like there are still things that could and need to be accomplished. The other side of what he is struggling with is a feeling that he's not sold yet on who he would like to see replace him. So, this boils down to votes in the Senate, right? It boils down to a vote by House Republicans. There we go. As to whether he stays or goes, and frankly, whether who the new person is and how that's going to unfold. So part of it is he just feels like he hasn't finished his work, and the other part of it is he doesn't seem to be displaying it internally a great deal of confidence for some of the younger members. Um, it's like he feels that they are so enthusiastic and um so liberal, right? um and there's a feeling like, well, 45 is taking it to one end of the extreme. He's concerned that a younger, sort of less experienced um person in that position is, first of all, it's going to sort of lose some ground, and it's sort of clear on some of the ramifications of actions, of some of the consequences of specific actions. So that's where he's at. Now, add to that, he's getting this huge amount of pressure because it was like, no, this is when you were supposed to stand up to the guy. This was when you were supposed to say enough is enough. And instead, what you did was say, oh, I guess it's okay for now. So he's in for a rough ride. I would not be surprised if in the next maybe 6, 7 months, if we didn't see him stepping back. It can be as early as next month, but broadly speaking, I feel like he's going to be announcing his retirement, and that and a date, if you will be figured out. Now, I have to say, Schumer, from his perspective of the sort of, the young ones taken over, well, I don't agree with it. I think to some degree he is looking at Hakeem Jeffries and saying, and that guy's getting, crap thrown at him all the time because he's not being mean enough, right? So he's looking at that and he's saying, it's like he's saying that he can't hold the Dems together because now you have sort of that infighting going on between the younger ones and the more middle range ones. That's part of what he's dealing with and what he's trying to process. His his intentions, I'm not going to say are going so far as being altruistic, but they're going far enough, um, because he's also dealing with ego. He's dealing with a lot of control, those kinds of issues. So there's a lot going on with him. We're going to see just how that unfolds as going forward. One more thing before I bounce into the US more broadly. I am predicting that Mark Carney is going to announce an election by this time next week, anytime in the next 7 days. It is 3:45 p.m. in Alberta Mountain Time. So on Monday. So we'll see. That's sort of my prediction right now. I think that it's going to move quickly, and part of the reason I'm saying that is because the good gracious, I spent so much time on U.S. politics I can't remember the English stuff or the Canadian stuff. The House is they're supposed to reconvene. Thank you. On the 24th, which is Monday. So it makes sense that the timing of this fits. It comes together. So that's my prediction. And when that happens, I believe it's 6 weeks. Like our election run-ups are about 6 weeks long. I'm pretty sure. So you're looking at March, April, May, right? So you're looking at end of May, June for an election. And honestly, they will probably, if that holds, they're going to want to probably get it done before mid-June, because then you're into holiday time and people are their heads in the summer and vacationing and whatever, although a good number of them are not vacationing in the United States right about now. So Trump is also in court here. Well, the administration is in court today, and I don't know, there could be a decision by now, but there was a hearing to basically find out if 45, and by extension, the people below him, simply completely disregarded a court order because they sent immigrants out after it had come down, and they weren't allowed to do that. Everything had to stop, and they didn't stop it. And their defense, as near as I can figure, was nobody has the right to interfere with the president's decisions and choices. And there is basically no one who can hold him to account. Yeah, Supreme Court, look at the mess you've made. So that's going on. But what's underneath that is a need to sort of decimate, if you will, the courts, right? So 8 years ago, 9 years ago, it was the government. The government's all bad. It's terrible. It's on and on and on. Well, now that's going to start with the courts, because he's going after judges that are not ruling in his favor. And frankly, the guy keeps breaking so many darn rules. It makes you wonder how any judge could actually rule in his favor. But so now you've got lawyers who are being threatened. Where does this go? And how far does this take it? Because the Supreme Court said he basically can't be held responsible for anything he does that's within the wheelhouse of his job. Well, presidents hire, I was going to say hired attorneys and judges, but they actually don't, because in the United States, a lot of them are voted in. So, but the question is, does he have the authority to just fire them like EM has fired, I don't know, like feels like about a fifth of the American workforce. That's what's going to be going back and forth. I think that the court case today, they're going to find that he violated a court order. Now, I don't exactly know how you rectify. I mean, it'll get appealed to wherever it gets appealed to next. But how do you actually reprimand or punish the United States of America for not adhering to a court order? Like, that's going to be a little bit tricky. No one's going to grab 45 and throw them in the hoosegow, okay? So there has to be something figured out in terms of, well, how do you make them stop doing it again? Because if they get away with it once, well, we all know what happens then. This is going to make its way up to the Supreme Court. And what's interesting is they're saying that by time it gets there, and listen, this is going to be fast tracked, okay? This is not going to take 2 years to get there. But by time it gets there, there will have been so much almost like volatility within legal communities in terms of what he is doing, that the Supreme Court is not going to Gorsuch and, oh my God, who's that tall, skinny, annoying guy? potato country. You know who I'm talking about, the guy that ultra conservative, right? Um, are going to vote. Yeah, the president can do whatever he wants, but I think beyond that, this is not going to fly. Because why? Well, because judges are considered collectively sort of the most important body within the United States because they oversee what happens and what goes on when rules are not kept. And, they adhere a lot of what their thought processes to the Constitution, what has been done, what has never been done before, etc. Now, for those of you who don't know, apparently the tool that they use to do the mass exiles of people that they say are all completely immigrants who have no business being there, which I'm not exactly sure that's true. But anyways, um, it was some law that was on the United States, but like from 1878 or 1787 or something. Like, if you have to go back that far to find a law that is going to help you do what you want, you really are searching hard. But let's not forget, they used that, not that law, but an old antiquated law in the abortion fight. Okay. So they're not adverse to doing it. So the Supreme Court ultimately is going to rebuff some of the beliefs that Trump is currently functioning under. The energy is chaotic right now. He loves chaos. And so he's fine with it. And the more of it he can stir up, kind of literally, the happier he is. As for Canada, it feels very much like we are going to continue on our merry way until there has been a ceasing of this 51st state nonsense. And no one's actually expecting Trump to issue an apology, but it needs to stop. So for right now, Canadians, as near as I can figure, are dug in. And for right now, if an election were held today, the Liberals would win it. And I'm not sure that they would win it yet with a majority government. It was interesting, though, one of the polls that I looked at here pertaining to Alberta, and I've said it before, Alberta is like northern Texas, right? It's very conservative. Well, apparently the Liberals are leading here. The Liberals never lead in Alberta, okay? It just doesn't happen. But they are right now because people are so annoyed with the premier, who is, as I said before, Trump in heels. So anything, and now also this applies to Polyev. He is being seen as too connected to Trump and his beliefs and philosophies. And EM apparently is one of this guy's like biggest fans. So you know where that's going. So his political career right now, Polyev's, feels very, very precarious because people are done with this sort of bully-like attitude and antics where I'm going to do what I want and, you try to figure out how to stop me. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But where we are right now is things are a little nuts. They just are. And, 45 becomes more and more belligerent and more disconnected. But between him and EM, they really have decided that they are absolutely above the law and they really can do whatever they want. And that's not going to fly, but there is a process. And that's where we're at right now. Listen, this is the thing. We all knew that sort of this Pluto and Aquarius thing was going to tear down structures that were no longer working. And that is going to happen. I think, though, there was no anticipation that somebody would go after those established institutions with a chainsaw. And that, as we know, is symbolically what has happened. So anybody that is too closely connected to 45 is not going to do well. And EM he is going to lose his shine from 45 soon. A couple months is my guess. All right, so this was a very quick spin around the world. Okay, not really. Okay, it was a spin in the northern, in the Americas, and that part of Europe. But the reality is this: countries are banding together against 45, against the tariffs, against just the crap. And this is the thing. You pull people together like that with a common sort of enemy, they don't break apart very easy. So even somewhere down the line, is there going to be a kiss and make up moment? I guess we'll have to see. But as of right now, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate because there's an entire country of millions and millions and millions of people who are being negatively impacted, who are being hurt, who are having their lives destroyed because you've got who you've got in the Oval. And it's unfortunate that the people, okay, are experiencing the repercussions for his actions. But where we're at right now is a place where the United States is in a very precarious position. I think it'll level out. But right now, there's a lot of pressure coming to the States, sort of from all sides. And that's, that's just plain unfortunate. Speaking of Pluto in Aquarius, I have asked the amazing Kathy Beal to come back. So the video that we do will probably most likely be released on Thursday. And I have asked her specifically to take a look at the Canadian horoscope and the US horoscope and see how they balance each other, what is going on, or what we can anticipate. So I'm looking forward to that because she always brings so much really good information forward. So that's on the agenda for this week. All right, everyone, thank you very, very much for being here. Your support means more than you will ever know. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye for now.